Okay, next up, we have a great guy. Jonathan Bishop is coming up next. Jonathan has 4 degrees. He's a director of 3 companies. He's been given 2 fellowships. And I think at the last count, he was 9 times winner of the World Modesty Championship. And I think he'll correct me if this is written down incorrectly, but he's also the inventor of Tip-X. Okay, Jonathan's talks tonight is Trolls, the demonisation of digital teens.
Firstly, I'd like to thank the organisers for inviting me to speak today. So good to have such a big audience and all these unfamiliar faces. The last time I saw this many, Crime Watch was on the TV. And also, I'm glad you chose to come and see me tonight rather than go and see one of my Facebook friends, Paul Flynn MP. Yeah, I don't know who he is either. So, ladies and gentlemen, so what is a troll? I've devised these 2 terms just to keep everyone happy, called classical trolling and anonymous trolling. The classical kind is when you go into a Apple forum and say how great Microsoft are. And I'm talking here about digital teens. You can see people usually define them by date, but I'm saying it should be whether they grow up with technology and access the information without having to ask. So digital teens and trolls are very similar. They've got the attitude that no one cares anyway, especially if it's their parents watching TV. And I've developed this thing called the Bullingdon principle, which is where people at the extremities of opportunity don't give a damn. So teens want their own opinions, and they're not going to accept others if they're not willing to convince them. And basically, lots of things aren't made available to teens, like computers in classrooms, because people say they can't afford them if they're poor, when actually it's the people who are poor who depend on technology. And so if you look at these names, you've probably heard some of them in the media. And what's happening is these young people are becoming scapegoats for things in society driven by a media moral panic. Okay, so I'm going to talk about these first 2 for the moment. The media has been putting pressure, and so have the people. You'll remember Liam Stacey posted the comment about Fabrice Muamba, and he got a public order offence on his record. Matthew Woods was the one who did the April Jones joke, and he got told he made a grossly offensive comment. And even though he got it off a website called Wikipedia. So Rhys Messer, he posted on Tom's Daily's Twitter, "You've let your father down, you know that?" And then immediately the police arrested him under the Malicious Communications Act and eventually gave him a harassment warning. And Daniel Thomas, in the same occasion, he posted a racist remark saying that Tom Daley had AIDS, and he only got a £500 fine from the Welsh FA. So now, a couple of years on, now everyone knows what troll is. The Sun are trying to stir it up in order to sell their papers, and so the Daily Mail interview was what started it. And these 2 names here you may not have heard of. Joshua Hampson Hines, his mother pulled the computer plug out when he was talking to his girlfriend. He bit her fingers. And this teacher allegedly slapped the laptop down on one of his students. Yeah, I'm saying that here. And if this teenager, he went to jail, and like his mother got off, but it's my view, it was her, the one with the behavioural problems, and not him. So this lecturer, now, he was found not guilty, even though he smashed the laptop on his student's fingers, allegedly. So now MPs are jumping on the bandwagon as well. There was this person called Georgia Varley who fell in front of a train. One called Natasha McBride, she got her troll convicted, but the MP had his own agenda. And like these judges, they try to set an example, saying people want to we'll have to learn from it, but society doesn't exist. We don't care what they say anyway. And I'm talking about Classroom 2.0, and basically the model where the teacher stands up in front of the class and speaks is no point in teachers trying to do that. I'm saying that they're usually wrong because each of the students they're teaching will have their own point of view from TV, the internet, and if the teachers don't accept that, they're on to a loser. And so they need to accept that with all this knowledge, that they need to bring it out of the students instead of trying to teach them things they don't believe in, to help them develop the skills to think for themselves. So this is what I think is basically happening at the moment. We've had trolling where the teens have been targeted, and now the media are starting to worry about them. So that's in the next year we'll be hearing about internet grooming and child abuse more. So the media go from one extreme to the other. Thanks.